I got two games I want to talk about today. Essentially, I guess you're getting two for the price of one with me. So think of these kind of as games that were left on the cutting room floor from various videos. And you guys are always asking me what else I'm playing in my spare time other than the games I'm like reviewing on Game Ranks or anything like that. And I got two interesting games that I feel like haven't been talked about enough. I feel like not enough people are jumping on them. They're new releases relatively. So I wanted to highlight specifically first this game called Dredge. Now, I know some people are like, I know some of you guys out there are more mainstream. You're like, ew, boring indie game. But just let me pitch this to you because I've really been digging this game. It's on all the platforms. It's from a New Zealand studio, Black Salt Games. It's published by Team 17. And essentially what this is kind of like a boating exploration game with a pretty addictive and simple fishing mechanic, a kind of economy for selling your fish, and a really, really good upgrade system, but all steeped in this kind of slightly mysterious, depressing, Lovecraftian vibe. So the way it works is that like you mysteriously crash land on this island, your boat is lost, and the mayor of this small little dumpy town on the island gives you a new boat and you can pay it off by going back to fishing. It's not like a whole Tom Nook situation. You're not tied to that forever. It gets bigger than that pretty quickly, but it's essentially built around you taking your little boat out of the town, puttering out into the waters, catching some fish, bringing them back and exchanging them for money. Now, there's a lot more to it where you're going to come across side objectives. You're going to find little islands with other little people to speak to and get new things to do, requests from different customers for different fish, and kind of a mystery that slowly starts to unfurl. Because the big thing here is that as you putter out with your boat every day, you're pretty limited. Your boat is pretty slow and you're racing against time. Time actually moves really fast in this game. So the longer you putter out to sea, like basically as you're accelerating, time progresses. So you really have to time how far you want to go out to sea and get some fish and bring it back because you're racing against daylight. And as dark falls, it gets harder to see, especially before you upgrade your boat. You only have a little tiny light. You can crash into rocks. You can also get attacked by mysterious things that kind of gets increasingly more intense the more the game goes on and the further you get out. But getting back and selling your fish to the fishmonger and just cashing in essentially little quests and requests from people allows you to upgrade your boat in some pretty satisfying little like boat upgrade loops. It's all about research and then gathering resources and then building the new things, and they're all expendable. You have to have them repaired and stuff. But it's interesting, like we talk about crafting and resources and blueprints and stuff in so many games, but just the way it's handled here is really nice and very simple and easy to grasp. And it just ties in with tangible things that you really feel the difference, right? Like, so you upgrade your motor finally and your boat goes faster and you really feel the difference and like you feel like you did something. You get brighter lights so your boat can see better. Your boat can withstand a little more damage. You can build traps to drop to catch crabs. You can get a net later on to scoop up fish. Different reels for catching different types of fish further out. So it just has a really, really satisfying progression loop, all tied around like this weird air of mystery and danger and, like Lovecraftian horrors out there, all coupled with essentially some pretty cool writing that kind of a lot of it kind of reads like very like a little Hemingway-ish, but a little deeper than that. But every time you find something out there or talk to a character or engage in mystery, you just get a couple of lines of writing that are just well written and simple and succinct and interesting. It feels kind of like a book, and that's how I've been using this game. It's like it's actually been, like I said, it's on all the platforms, but I've been cozying up on Steam Deck at night, just doing a little fishing, doing a little adventuring and mystery solving, and upgrading my boat. And I've really dug it. Oh, and I also buried the lead. Part of the satisfying loop, other than just catching the fish, is fitting the fish on your boat, because the game essentially has the Resident Evil 4 attaché case inventory management system, like straight up, like you're grabbing the fish and then you're bringing them into your inventory, which is your boat. And it's like Tetris. You're trying to figure out where to fit them in a limited amount of tiles to optimize space. And along with that, like your tools, like say your crab cages, things, your motor, your fishing rods, like those also take up space. So you have to worry about a lot of stuff and really try to eventually upgrade your boat to get access to more space or pare down some of your tools or make them more efficient. So there's really actually a surprising surprising amount to this one, and it's all centered around just a really cool, simple art style, really good kind of mood and atmosphere, which is like a little spooky, but it's not like a horror game, and a surprisingly big ocean to explore. You're gonna play it safe for a while and just kind of stay within your lane, but there's so many enticing things out there that you can start to see, so you just drive to an island and hope you can make it there before the sun sets and find a new quest, and then keep going and discovering new fish to catch and get more money, but also more weird stuff out there that I don't want to spoil. You're pulling shit out of the depths of the ocean, you're catching fish, you're talking to like depressing, dumpy townspeople in all these little old school spooky towns. You're uncovering some really weird horrors and trying to avoid them. And it's something that I'm not usually into like games that are centered around fishing, but my Friends Per Second podcast buddies were also talking about this, so I gave it a shot, and I'm happy I did, because I've been absolutely hooked on this thing. Pun intended, I didn't mean to, is that a fishing joke? Hooked? Like you get hooked? I don't know, I've never fished in my life. Now, the other game I wanted to talk about is Minecraft Legends. So I put a ton of hours into this because on Game Ranks, we actually planned to do a before you buy video for it, but we cut it at the last minute because scheduling conflicts and stuff. So thankfully, I had a ton of hours into it because I was really hooked on it, and I have a bunch of gameplay, and this is a surprising game. So I've had a lot of questions from Microsoft lately in terms of what they're doing. Redfall, 30 FPS. We're going to talk about that at some point in a video. But also the fact that like Minecraft Legends, I feel like was barely marketed. I forgot it was coming out. I didn't also really even know what it was, but it's pretty awesome. I also liked Dungeons, a spin-off Minecraft game that was kind of like a basic Diablo looter, but this one has a little bit more personality to it and a little bit more depth, where I kind of like gave some praise to Dungeons for being like, it's cool and simple and fun, and maybe if you have a younger sibling or like, you know, a kid or whatever, it'd be cool to play with them. For Legends, it's cool to play with somebody, maybe not necessarily kids, because it's fairly in-depth, and it actually took me a little while to grasp it. It starts off a little slow, but once things start getting rolling and you really understand what the game is, it's a pretty cool third-person real-time strategy game set in a Minecraft world. It has a lot of Minecraft stuff you'd want, kind of like randomly generated, seemingly sprawling worlds to run through, gathering up resources, building. There's a huge emphasis on building, but also, again, it's in third person, and you're gathering units and sending them out to battle this invading force. The piglins, who I actually think they did a good job like feeling good in the Minecraft world. Like they just make sense. They're just all these little weird piggy warriors. But like it's cool to see them fit in here because I've been playing Minecraft. So I haven't played Minecraft like core Minecraft in a long time, but I started back when that thing was like in like alpha. I always kind of equate Minecraft for being the game that is responsible for me not finishing college, because I was in the back of the class playing it on a laptop that was screaming the whole time. But it was like the really simple days of Minecraft, and I was hooked on it. I was like an adult playing it, diving into this weird indie crazy thing, and now it's become this huge property, right? And like it's been really doubled down as like being a fun thing for kids also. But I've always been skeptical and not always super down with like how they've expanded it and how they've added things and just like kind of built up the world, the universe of Minecraft or whatever. But I actually really liked what they did in this game. The enemy types are cool. The little bits of lore and these like overseers and everything, like I actually thought it was pretty decent. Is it like the most compelling story stuff ever? No, but it all works in context of like the enemy you're facing off. These piglins basically set up bases around the map that just kind of dominate the area. They darken the land. There are towers everywhere. Like they like plop down and basically like create their own Mordor, and you have to like fight back against that. And how you do that is by crafting and building and gathering resources to build up little guys, little minions. They start off as just little rock guys and wood guys to do ranged attacks or melee attacks, but then as you progress, you slowly build up also commanding zombies and creepers and skeleton archers and stuff, and just like a whole little Minecraft army. And what you do is you send these guys into battle to do your bidding and accomplish objectives, but a lot of the times they're expendable and they're gonna die, and you're gonna need to start crafting and building up more. So what you want to essentially do is go as far back away from their territory as possible and start building your own little base to spawn your guys, yes, but also to protect all of your stuff, all of your resources and stuff like that. So you're going to be building walls, towers, because every so often enemies are going to start coming over to your territory. So you kind of build up a big temporary base to then lay siege to their pig Mordor, and it can be really satisfying to knock it all down. Shit explodes, you know, there's like actual destruction. The enemies on screen are staggering. Like the amount of enemies going on screen at once are really impressive, and it can feel like really big battles. It takes a long time for you to get a ton of units. Like there is a whole progression system essentially where you're gathering special resources and then crafting towers at the main base to then give you access to more things. So it takes a while to get a lot of units, but you can get up to like 100 units after a while, and it can make the game really chaotic. And I'll say that I actually wish there was a little bit of like a slow down time or pause mechanic, because it can be hard sometimes to wrangle your guys and send out ranged here, send out melee here, send out special units here. It's a little sloppy. It's a little messy. But once I learned to just kind of roll with the chaos, you know, like my brain was like, no, I need to plan better because I'm more into like Civ and stuff like that. But I just found myself hooked, and I put a lot of time into this essentially because during the day, pigs will kind of plan, and then at night they will execute their plans and they will attack some towns that you need to build up. They will come back and plant new bases that you need to attack. So there's a lot of fun to be had as you kind of slowly try and conquer and regain control of this entire map. The only thing that sucks is that like you as your little Minecraft character, like you can get on different horses and mounts. Like you can ride on like a cat, a bug. They all have their own little different capabilities, but you kind of ride around, command your troops, and you can swing your weapon, but you don't do a lot of damage. You can't really do a lot, so you don't have too much agency there, and that's a little frustrating. I wish there was a little bit more, but you still can do a lot, like, you know, build cannons, and then you can control those cannons. So like it's a decent trade-off. There's just like a surprising amount to it, and it actually took me a while to really get into the groove of it. So getting a kid into this, I don't know. I thought this was going to be like kids StarCraft, but like good luck, little 5-year-old Jimmy figuring this shit out. Still, you can play with other friends, and you could also build and do your own things together and conquer, which is again technically impressive. But also there is PvP, which I haven't really had too much experience with. I haven't really had anyone to play with, but apparently it's actually pretty good. And just knowing and being pretty intimate with this gameplay formula now, I could see it. There is a microtransaction store, which sucks. Like you can buy cosmetics for your little Minecraft character and stuff. And this game doesn't really need that. I actually feel like it does need something, because your character, like you pick one skin and that's it. But a skin shop, not the best move considering, like, I don't know. Otherwise, like it's a good, wholesome, straightforward game experience. It's just something that you may have written off or not even really thought about, but maybe you have some general interest in Minecraft, or at least their takes on different genres. I like how they're doing that. And I think this one was a really good attempt to kind of make a cool hybrid third-person RTS thing. It's actually surprisingly challenging. It's got a decent amount of depth if you really want to go into it. The AI is like really dumb, and it's really hard to mangle your units, and that can be frustrating. But otherwise, it's pretty cool. And I think at some point, if you're looking for something to play, consider it. Don't write it off. It's definitely for a specific type of player, but like I thrust myself into these things, and like sometimes I end up being pleasantly surprised. And with this, I definitely was. But those are some other games I've been kind of tinkering, playing with for the past couple days, weeks. So let me know what you think. I really think you guys should at least consider these games at some point. And yeah, I packaged up two to talk about in one. So let me know what you think of me cramming in some extra game talk here and there. I'd love to have your feedback. I always appreciate that stuff. But if you like what I try to do here, I'm just talking about games I like and movies I like and stuff I love. That's really it. So clicking a like button helps me. Thank you to Patreon and YouTube membership people for having my back. I appreciate you. But I'm Jake Baldino. I'll see you guys in the next one. Pizza's on me. Subscribe because video games.